What if you could skip the content grind and instantly step in front of thousands of your ideal clients who already trust you? That's the power of borrowed trust. And it's how my clients generate premium leads without posting a thing on social media. Let me explain to you why borrowed trust works and why it works so well. Every respected podcast host has spent months, if not years, earning their audience's trust. So when they invite you on and introduce you as the expert, it's a transfer of credibility. Their audience thinks, if my favorite host trusts this person, I probably can trust them too. That instant credibility turns listeners who probably never heard of you before into potential clients who come to you pre-sold on your authority because they heard you on their favorite show. A leadership coach I worked with had a very small online presence. She wanted to land speaking opportunities, and she knew that by sharing her expertise on podcasts, it was a great way to be noticed by her target market, who were companies, of course. She booked we booked her on a podcast for HR directors. She shared her three-step conflict resolution method, told a short client story, and mentioned a free self-assessment. Within 10 days after the interview was released, two corporate contracts came in from listeners who found her through the host's episode page. Those companies didn't know her before and would have probably never found her if she didn't go on that podcast. If you were still wondering how borrowed trust works, that's the perfect example. Here is how you can engineer the same type of results step by step. Phase one, anchor your authority. And this needs to be done way before you start getting interviewed. Borrowed trust will only work if your foundation matches the introduction. When a host says, she's an expert in leadership psychology, listeners will look you up within seconds. Make sure that what they find confirms that statement. Here are the assets that you want to have in place. A short bio. Make it concise, and it needs to lead to with transformation. Here is an example. Crystal Biga, also known as your podcast matchmaker, helps high-performing experts go from invisible to industry authority through top-tier podcast placements. Simple and effective. Next thing is your website. It can be as simple as one page, but it needs to look professional and clearly state the promise of or the transformation that you provide. Next, you need social proof. It can be testimonials from clients, or if you have been featured on podcasts before, you can add an as seen on section with podcast logos. You can add these on your website or your social media. It signals credibility, even if you are not active on those platforms. When your positioning aligns with the host's endorsement, the listeners trust you more. Phase two, spark curiosity in the conversation. Most guests wait for the outro to mention their call to action. That's too late. You want to seed it naturally throughout the conversation to spark curiosity in the audience's mind. Here is an example of how to do this. Let's say during the conversation, you share a framework. It looks something like this. Step one in the framework is clarity. That's actually what my free readiness quiz helps people uncover. Now the audience knows that you have a free resource that helps them get clarity. Another example is, let's say you are discussing clients' results. You can say, one of my quiz takers realized she was ready for top tier podcast placements. She took action, and within a month, we booked her on 3 shows. Remember, you are not pitching. You are connecting the dots between what you are sharing and the next step. Listeners lean in because it feels like mentorship, not marketing. Nobody wants to be sold. So lead with value. Phase 3, capture, and continue after the interview. You want your call to action to direct the borrowed trust somewhere it can compound. And to do that effectively, you need a few things. A dedicated landing page. Don't send people to your website homepage. Create a simple landing page with one promise. Find out how ready you are for podcast guesting. It's simple and clearly states the outcome. Your landing page has to be connected to an automated follow-up sequence. When they opt in, they get a 5 email nurture sequence. Email 1, you deliver the quiz results and thank them. In emails 2 to 4, share additional resources, guidance, and clients' success stories. In email 5, invite them to a strategy call. The last thing you need to complete phrase 3 is leverage the host ecosystem. So you want to give the link of your freebie to the host so they can include it in the episode description and page. That will drive traffic to your landing page for months and sometimes years. By following these 3 phases, you will turn 30 minutes or 45 minutes of conversation on someone else's stage into a steady stream of qualified leads. Borrowed trust shortens the sales cycles because your future clients have already been vetted by proxy. The host pre-sold them on your credibility, and all you did was show up, serve generously, and make the next step clear. If you are ready to leverage borrowed trust to attract premium clients and want to know exactly how prepared you are, take your podcast guesting assessment quiz below. It's free, it takes just 2 minutes, and shows you where to focus before you start getting booked. In the next video, I'll show you how to turn one podcast interview into a long-term lead magnet that keeps working for you for years. Subscribe so you don't miss it.